size here. Okay, I think this is okay. Let's first see what we have left last time. So a week ago I already worked on it in a live stream, but I didn't told anyone about the live stream essentially. So I just was a bit programming for myself, streaming into the internet at the same time. But this time I announced it, and yeah, there are 5 viewers. Hey, hi. And what I'm working on is an app. I built the app initially for my son, that he can, when he wakes up, he looks onto the device. He has an iPhone, an old iPhone of my devices, and he looks onto the device. And if he sees a field with sunflowers, then he knows it's time to get up. And if he sees a night sky, and then it's still time to sleep. And I just built it because before he used this app, sometimes he was next to my bed at 5 or 4:30 in the morning and asked if it's time to get up. And he couldn't read the numbers, the time, the clock at that time. Now he can read the clock, but still it's kind of a tradition that he uses this app. So I put this app into his bed. The iPhone with this app next to his bed when I go to sleep, and he can in the night look onto the device and see if it's already time to get up. There's a setting where you can set the time when the switch should happen from night to day, from day to night, and the other way around. So it's customizable. And the initial thought was to put it into the App Store, but this didn't work because the App Store review person thought that this is not worth it for the App Store. It's too trivial. It doesn't do enough for the App Store. I don't know if this is true. It doesn't do much. It's really a very, very simple app, but for me, it's the difference between sleeping past 6 o'clock in the morning or waking up at 5 o'clock because my son is next to my bed and asks if it's time to get up. And so this is the application. It's very simple. It's like that because it's just for me. I put it onto GitHub so everyone can use it if they like. But it's mainly just for me. It works for me, and I can show you the functionality of the app as it is right now. So if you want to change the times, the settings, you have to put in a password 42. And here you can set the beginning of the time, the end of the night, the beginning of the night, end of night, and you can also see which images are used. So I used images from Unsplash. Unsplash is a website where you can use the images, and it's nice to. They would like you to use attribution, but it's not necessary. And I use them because I like them a lot. And this is the rabbit button. The rabbit button, if I hide it, there is so I have the possibility to hide the rabbit button, and what it does is it redirects to iTunes Music, because we have an iTunes Music subscription, a family subscription, and my son, listens to audiobooks all the time. It's one thing he really enjoys, and I thought it's nice when he can tap a button from the app he sees first when he wakes up to listen to some audio content. The button is always shown, so it would be a good idea to hide it while the night image is visible. but it works for us, so it's still there all the time. And as I said, I didn't manage to put it into the App Store. The reason was that it was too trivial, so I thought, sorry about the switching. So I thought about what can I add to this app to put it into the App Store. But it's half of the reason why I'm working on the app again. It's also that there is an idea I had for a very long time. And I saw it sometime in another app, but I couldn't find it again in the App Store. So I don't know if there's an app that does this, what I want to add to this application. Essentially, the idea is some parents, and I'm one of them, read to their children a lot. So we have many books. We read to them a lot, and most of the books we read are books with a lot of images. And the idea was to have an application where you make a picture, take a picture of a page with an image, and then read it, what it's written there, and the child can then flip through the pages and hear what you read, what you spoke into the application for this page. So it's essentially an application where you can record you reading the page, and the children can then flip through the pages and listen what you read. So it's kind of a reading app, but the child has just to flip the pages. It's just an idea. I don't plan to use it very often because reading with the child together is not only reading, it's just also bonding, having time together and all that stuff. So it's kind of an idea I would like to explore. I would like to try if I can figure out how to do this. So this is why I'm working on this. And I thought maybe it's a good idea to do this in a live stream. Not only because I can show what a good programmer I am. Spoiler, I'm not. I'm just struggling as we all do. Now, the main reason is when I have a time where I say I will stream while I'm working, this is the time I have fixed to work on this app. So I know that every time I stream my live coding, I'm working on this app, and then maybe sometime I will be finished with it. I'm doing this right now, Friday evening here in Germany, but I'm also planning to switch that to the weekends, so maybe Saturday or Sunday. But yeah, you will see when the next stream is announced. I don't know yet. So let's get started with the application. So what do we have? So this is the button. This is a button. The image is a button to this feature, to the reading feature, the reading and listening feature I just talked about. And when you press the button, we are presented with, I hope. What is going on here? Maybe I broke it last time. I don't know. Doesn't work right now. I don't know. Oh, okay. Took a bit. Okay, this is a collection view, and the collection view, there's a plus button, and when I press it, I can put in a title and an author, and then I can add an image. Oh boy, this is really slow. Let's see, we use this image as a cover of the book, and we press save. And then we are presented with this entry in the collection view. So the idea is to have all the books in the collection view and I press on this book, then I put into the pages overview, and there's somewhere a play button where the child can play the books, so listen to the pages while flipping through the book. And this is where we left off. So this is the books edit page. I did last week the books edit page, and here is an error. Here's something wrong. So here should be the image and the label with the title of the book. And if I use the view debugger, we can see that there's a runtime problem. So here's some kind of problem with the collection view cell. There is an ambiguous layout, and this is where we left off, and this is what I try to fix next. And then we will see how to navigate to the detailed page of the book where we can add the pages. Not a detailed page of the book where we can add pages. Yeah, was correct. Sounded funny, I think. Okay, let's see. One thing, what's also missing in this application is tests. I didn't write any tests yet. This is a bummer, but initially I just had one view and one view controller, and it showed some image depending on the time, and I didn't bother to write a unit test for this. It would be good to write a unit test for the logic that decides when to show the image, but I haven't. And I started working on this idea just in the middle of something, just to figure out if it's possible or not. I already have the book page input controller, and there aren't any tests. So I will add tests sometime in the future, but right now I want to first figure out what is wrong with the layout, and then maybe I will add the tests, or we will do it next time. I'm not sure. So let's first see what the problem is with our collection view cell. What I use here is a stack view. I have an image view, the title label, and a stack view, and it's vertical, so this works, but somehow it doesn't know how to present those two on top of each other. And I also don't know where the label is located. So let's see if the anchors are correct. It's the top anchor, leading anchor, bottom and trailing. I do remember that I had some problems when I used the content view of collection view, but let's stick to it at the moment. And let's see if we can figure out what's going on. So let's run the application again and see if we can figure out where the label is located, what the frame is of the label. Maybe we get some clue from there. So press the button. Was a bit faster this time. So again, we add a book. The book is also not it's not serialized, stored somewhere. We just have to do it all the time. Maybe we can figure out this next. But first, let's see why the layout is broken. Let's see if there are some questions. No, just hi, Jakob. Okay. Let's see if we can find, this is the image. When we go to the stack view, there are two, the image view and the label. And we select the label and open the inspector, then we can see maybe what okay, is this really the label? No, it's not the label. So we lost the label. Stack view label. Okay, here we have it. The height is 0. Height and vertical position are ambiguous. I think this is what is here. So this is strange. Okay, let's try to fix that by sort of label, title label. Let's try to fix that by adding a compression resistance priority. Title label set content compression, I guess. Let's see. Compression resistance priority required for vertical. I'm not sure if this fixes the problem, the layout issue. It's a bit strange that the label isn't visible at all, even though there's enough room, I guess. Let's see. So we have to add another view, another book. Again, foo bar add image. Then we present an image picker. Oh yeah, you might be wondering why we are not using SwiftUI for this project. Oh, this seems to have fixed our problem. Let's see if we can see the frame or the frames of the views. Show view frames. We will switch back. Okay. So we have here the image view up here and the label there. So this fixed the layout issue. Let's see if we still get the warning from the view debugger. No, there's no. We have here something, but this is just a warning about update to recommended settings. Yeah, let's do that. I don't like warnings in my projects. So that's, what is it? Update deployment target. This will update the minimum deployment target to, no, I don't want that. I get enable recommended warnings when the following combine include the framework header. Okay. So I was just talking about why we are not using, wait a minute, why is the deployment target 12? Deployment info, deployment target. I actually don't know the difference, I have to say. I let it like how it is for now. So the reason why I'm not using SwiftUI here is that I want to go down to iOS 9. The reason for this decision was that most people with kids with their own iPads and iPhones have really old devices because they reuse devices from their parents. And I wanted to go as low as I could, and iOS 9 was the first where we had this anchor based constraints, and I wanted to have the anchor based constraints, so I put this at the minimum target to support. And I think it's okay. I think most people, I think that children with devices lower than that are very rare, I hope. Yeah, this is what I decided. Okay, now that we have the book cell working, let's see if we have some comments now. Now that we have the books cell working, let's add persistence for the books so we don't have to put the books in there all the time. The books itself are codable, so it should be able just to write them to disk. The books are here in an array. We add them in the details view controller, and the details view controller has in its initializer a completion block, and this completion block is called when in the details, in the book details view controller, the add button is pressed. So when we have here the save button, then the completion with it, the completion block is called with the book. And then in the collection view controller, we use the book, we append the book to the books array. And now we should store the books array to the disk. We do that by using the codable feature, and we already have a book ID. What I do here is when I create a book, I also create a directory for the book, and the directory for the book is just the book ID, and the book ID is just a user ID I create when I initialize a new book. Okay, so let's see if we can create, if we can store a book and reload it. Right now, I'm not sure what I have to do for this codable to work. I hope, no, I think it doesn't use this initializer. Maybe use the initializer in it with coda or something like that. And the code is written by the compiler, but right now I'm not sure about that because most of the time I use codable with structs. But this should also work with classes the same. Okay, so let's add a file for the book JSON. Okay, this is the book cover. So we store the book cover in the book directory with the path component cover. So we just copy this code here. Book URL for book. I don't like this one. I would like to say book cover URL for book. And this is then the book URL for book. And there would just, what should I call it? Content, JSON maybe. Yeah, let's do that. And let's run it because we changed the API of the book cover URL, so the compiler should fail, and then we can fix the location where it fails. There's no member book cover. Okay, there are 2 places. URL. And here's another one where we try to write it, URL. Okay, let's run it again. Make sure everything works. Let's see if we have some comments. Okay, nice. So it works. It builds, and we can continue to write the books. Okay, this is bad. We don't want to write the content of the book. We want to write all the books. Okay, so whenever we add a book to our books array, we store it. We write it to file. And we can do that we need some kind of data manager, I guess. So let's just what should we call it? So I want to write a struct, I guess, that stores those files to disk. So data. Oh, why not the books provider? And the books provider is a struct. And it can write books to file. And I think it's okay to have a static method, so a type method to write the books. Save books. Write books. An array of book. And first of all, we get the data. That data equals to try JSON encoder, encode books. And we have to catch the errors that occur. Well, right now I would just want to print them. We will have to figure out what to do with this error later on, but now I just want to print them. Okay, so now we write the data. Try data write. And we can write it to the books directory. File manager, default book. Okay, books URL. I want to call the books URL for. Okay, this is wrong. We don't want to have it for one book. We want to have this for all the books. Okay, so this is wrong. We have to use the books or URL. This is not for one specific book. This is for all books, so we don't put it in the directory of one specific book, but we put it into the directory, the documents directory, and here we return book URL, and we call it books URL. Books URL. Okay, now we can use that in the books provider. Books URL. This is a method, so we call this method. And this should write the data to file. Then we need another method to load it again. Static load books. This returns an array of book. So do data equals to data contents of file manager default books URL. There's something wrong. File manager with an A missing. So we have the data. Can this throw? Oh, okay, this can throw. So try to get the data. We use the JSON decoding. Try JSON decoder. Decode type books. Self an array of books from the data. The errors are not catched, so let's do that first. Catch. Again, we just print them. I still have to get used to my keyboard, sorry about that. So, we return the books, and if we can't generate the books, we first print the errors because we couldn't load them, and but if there are any books stored yet, we also run into this error because we can't get the data from this URL. And in this case, we just return an empty array of books. So let's see, in the init method here, we want to load the books, or viewDidLoad is maybe early enough. So let's do that in viewDidLoad. In viewDidLoad, we want to load the books. Books provider. No, sorry, it's a load books. Okay, and then I think we don't have to reload. I think the reloading, the layout of the collection view is done after viewDidLoad, so we don't have to call reload data in this case. Okay, let's next store the books when we added a book. So books provider save books. Books. Okay, this should work, I guess. Okay, let's see. Now we run this app again. We add a book, and then we stop the application and see if the book is still there when we relaunch the application. So we tap the books button, and here we get the error, no such file or directory, so we can't load the book. And we get this error. The author is foo. The title is foo, the author is bar. We add an image. Right now this image, right now this image is taken from the library. In the final application I will use the camera, but I use here the library because on the simulator the camera is not available. And I like to work on the simulator whenever I can. So we stop this application and run it again and see if loading of the books works, storing and loading of the books works. I tap the book button. We don't get this error, so it seems to work. Nice. Next, we would like to do something when we click on the cell. Let's first change the background color of the cell to white for the moment. And when the cell is tapped, should select the item. Oh boy, I don't know what I should do with them, so I just delete those methods. Okay. So when the user taps this button, did select item, is it called, I guess, did select the item with index path. First of all, we get the book and this index path. And then we go to the pages, the page table view controller. And this is not implemented yet. We do that next, but first of all, let's navigate to this view controller. So if we are here, we create the next view controller. This is a book pages book pages table view controller. Oh, wait a minute. Do we have a... Yeah, we have an initializer that takes a book. So we use that. Book. And present it or push it onto the navigation controller. So navigation controller push, I think it's view controller, isn't it? Push view controller, yeah. View controller next true. I think this is the API. Is this correct? No, it's not. Oh, it is correct, but we have to use the question mark here because the navigation controller can be nil. Let's see if this works. Oh, hi Dennis. Sorry for reacting that slow, but I only have one screen. I have to look onto my iPad to see if someone commented. Okay, when we press that, we land on the pages. Table view controller, this seems to work. Just as we are already here, let's add a title. Books. And in here we want to add the title of the book itself. So view the load. Set the title of this view controller to book title. That's the name, I guess. Let's run it again and see if it works. Tap the book button. We go in here. There's the title of the book. And this is the books. Okay, nice. Next, we want to be able to add pages. And to do that, we need we do this the same as we do in the collection view, so we need an add button. Just copy it here and paste it here in the view.load method. And there's an add action, So we implement it. Let's first get rid of all that stuff here. All those comments, we can implement them when we need them. So let's add an extension. Book pages table view controller. And we add a mark actions. And this needs to be an Objective-C from visible from Objective-C. And it's just add, and it gets the sender. And this in this case it's a UI bar button item. And we then want to show the page input view controller. So next view controller is a book page input view controller, and we want to present it. Present next. I guess it's different, the API. What is it? Present. Oh, it is. It's like that. Present next. Animated true. We can get rid of the completion if we don't use it. Okay, let's see how this looks. Hi, Mahanas. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. Yeah. The thing is, I think what I'm doing here is quite boring, but still you can see how I work, and maybe that's interesting for some people. So stick around and leave if you don't want to stay. Just no offense. I'm just doing this no matter if someone looks or not, and then I thought maybe it's a good idea to stream. Maybe someone is interested how I do this. This is how I think this is how I work all the time. So this is maybe it's good. You get a peek into what I do when I'm programming. Okay, now we are in the books page of this book, and we want to add a page. It should be presented on top of it. Okay, nice. So this is the screen where we can add a page to the book, a recording, an image, a recording. This is quite rudimentary. I implemented it when I first had the idea to add this feature, so this has to be polished a lot. For now, I just want to strip it down to the bare minimum, that we can see that it essentially adding pages to the book works, and that we can see the pages in the table view controller. Okay, no offense. Everyone can come in and go whenever they like. I'm just here nevertheless. So that even if last time I streamed, I think I had most of the time no viewers, and I just did that because I wanted to try to do that, and I was already programming, and then I thought maybe it's a good idea to stream it. That forces me to keep at it, to do that and not to do something else, reading Twitter or something like that, just working on this application. Okay, as I said, I want to be able to add a page. The page, in the end, will consist of an image, a UUID, oh, I can't decode an image. That's strange. No, I don't need the image. I need the index of the page. I don't want to store the image in the page itself. I want to store the image on disk and just load it when I need it. And as we already did with the book cover. So this is an integer, the index in the book itself. It would just count from 0 up to how long the book is. I don't know if I need the ID. For now, I will get rid of it. And if I add a page, let's see. Okay, I think this also has some bar button items. So when I present the input view controller, I should also put it into a navigation controller. So let navigation controller equal to UI navigation controller. My typing is bad today. Root view controller. Next. And I use this navigation controller to present it. Now let's see if the bar button items are visible. By the way, this is non-alcoholic. I don't like alcohol. It's just, I like the taste of beer, but I don't like alcohol. Okay, let's see. We tap the book button. We already have a book in there. We press it. We want to add a page. And here we have it, but there are no bar button items. What's happening here? This is strange. Shouldn't there be bar button items? Let's see. Maybe the view debugger gives some clues. Maybe they are there and we only don't see them. No. What is this? This is the back button of the, yeah. This is the back button of the underlying view controller. So there are no bar button items visible at all in our view controller. So let's see what's going on. So we have, oh wait a minute, content view image input. Oh, I was wrong. There are no bar button items. I thought these are bar button items, but they aren't. Okay, then let's do something else. Let's add the bar button item here. View did load. We do add here the bar button item. Yeah, let's just copy paste what we did before and image button. Wait a minute, where am I? Bar button item add. So we use this bar button item, copy paste in here, and add it in view did load. So if you're not familiar with load view is the method iOS calls to figure out what should be shown on screen. And you have to override, no, that's not true. You don't have to override it, but you should. You should override it when you do your layout in code, not using storyboards. So as you can see, I have one storyboard here, but it's not used. It's just there laying around. Let's get rid of it. We don't need it. So move it to trash. And we can also move it, remove it here. Where is it? Oh, I already removed it here, but since I guess Xcode 11, we also have to remove it. No, we don't. Okay, this project is old enough. There wasn't another place where we had to remove it. And the app delegate, I already implementing a window. And set the root view controller of that window to the navigation controller and call make key invisible. And this is all we have to do to get the window onto the screen. So let's see if we still can build and run, or if we did something strange. Oh, I just forgot to add the add button. I don't want to name that add button. I call it save button. Save. And we will also use save here because this is a system item, I guess. Is it? I think so. Save. And now we have to implement the save, and we do this in an extension again. Books page input view controller. Come on. Input view controller. It should be visible from Objective-C. Func save sender, and this time again it's a UI bar button item. And for now we want to dismiss the view controller. What is it? I animated true, and we don't need the completion. We can get rid of it completely. And what we also need to save the page, to add the page to the book, we need the book in this view controller. So we add a property, book, and we need an initializer. I just delete that because I don't need this fatal error message. I know what's going on when I'm in this. So this required initializer, we have to implement it when we are not using, when we implement another initializer. So this initializer, init with coda, is used by the storyboard or by iOS when you use a storyboard or a nib. We don't use it, so we can just crap. It's fatal error. This will never be called, and if it's called, then there's something completely broken. It's okay to use fatal error here to halt the application. Okay, this is now complaining that we are not using the self book, that we are not setting self book in initializer. What we will do here, we will use the book in here, get it from the init method, and we will override book, self book in here, and this should be enough to make the compiler happy. And now we can use this here to add a page. So first of all, we want to get the image, and we want to check if the image is not, if the image is there. So got that image, content view image view image. And if you're wondering, the content view is in my, when I do the layout in code, as you can see here, I again have, wait a minute, yeah, I have the load view method again here. And in the load view, I initialize the view that should be used for this view controller, and at the end I set it to the view property of the view controller. And this is what I have to do if I'm not using storyboard. And what I do in these cases, I also always set and add a property, content view. Oh, this can be private. And this, this can also be private. And I guess the record on the player as well. And this content view, I just cast the view of the view controller to this type, to the book page input view type, because this is what I set up here. So the view of the view controller is a book page input view. And I have to find this view next to the view controller. You can see here. Here's the input view controller, and here's the page input view. And here's the layout, and here are the functioning of the view controller and the view. Okay, so I get the content view and the image view and the image in that, and if it's not there, I just do nothing. Even don't dismiss at this moment, because I want to dismiss it with a cancel button if there's no image. Okay, so if there is no image, if there is an image, we want to use that to store it. And to store it, we need a file manager extension method for the pages URL and page URL for book. So we connect this to this book, so we have a book directory where all files for this book are stored, and when we store a page, we want to put it into this directory for that book. This is a good idea, because when we want to delete a book, we just have to delete this directory and the book from the books array, and everything is gone. This is how why I have implemented like this. Okay, we return here URL, and we create it like this. So we first go to the book directory, and we get we also need the page index. We need the page to figure out which page should be loaded, and then we add just the page index here. I think this is a good idea, because then we have just the name, the index of the page is the file URL, the file name, and we can load that. But we also want to change the name of this property. This is then the page URL. Okay, let's see. When we add a page, we want to first get the page URL. No, wait a minute. We have a books provider. We can ask the books provider to save the page. Save page. And we also need the book of the page. Yeah, we need two things. We need the save image UI image. No. Oh, no, it's okay. We can use the UI image to save it. Then we would have to. No, we don't want that. We want to save the data. Save image data. We don't want to have UIKit in this books provider class. The reason is the books provider depends or is the model of our the books provider belongs to the model layer of our application because it manages the books, what to do with the books. And for example, if you want to implement the same feature in the Mac app, we could use the same model to load and store, load and save the images there. So then we would be. Sorry, my English is quite bad tonight. So it would be bad to have UIKit in this class. Then we would have to write another one for a Mac app, for a Mac OS application. So it's a good idea not to use the UI image here because this is a UIKit class. It's better to use data here. And we want for page index, we want the index in here because we want to know the name where it should be stored, and we want to have a book in book. And to make this nicer in the usage within the method, in the method body, we use a local variable here, index book. And then we have the data. We don't have to get this one, but we still have to store it. So do catch print error and we have the data and we want to write the data, try data write, and should be written to file manager default. I always forgot the A in there. Default page URL for book and page index. Could flip those parameters around as we did here. Maybe flip it here around. So. Oh boy. Okay, so what's wrong here? Cannot find data in scope. That's correct because it's called image data. So can save the image, and now we also need something to load the image. No. Yes. I have already done this, I know. I have done this in the book cell. So, contents of file. Okay, so we can paste this here. Oh boy, okay, this is not a good idea. No, this is not a good idea because when we do this, we again would have to add UIKit in here. I think we can load this ourselves because we have the file URL. So when we have the image here, we save the image. Books provider, save image data. First we need to get the image data. What did we use for the cover? I can't remember. I think it was JPEG 90%, 80%. It's here. 80%. So we do this the same as we did before. We get the data, and now we store the data. Data in book for page index. And now we use the next page in the book. So we use book pages count. So this should be the next page in the book. And then we dismiss the controller. And if you want to see the book in this page in this book pages table controller, for the moment we just use one section, so we can get rid of this one. And the number of rows is book pages count. And cell for row at index path. Let cell equals to table view DQ reusable cell with identifier. And the identifier we use here is, oh boy, we don't have set up the cell. Okay, so let's copy from our other implementation. Do we have, no. So first of all, we need to get the identifier. This is the identifier. And we table view register cell. The cell class is page cell itself. So we use identifier page cell identifier. You can reload that here. Page cell identifier. And use index path. Index path. Do we already have us method? No, we don't. Okay, sorry guys, it's too late. I have. Sorry guys, it's wrong. I don't want to use sorry. So sorry, I don't want to implement this. The method that shows the page image in the table view controller because it's quite late here where I live. I have to go to bed soon. So I will stop the live streaming at this point, and we will live stream again next week. If you like to watch me struggle with my code, then just come and visit the live stream. What I will do next time is I will get the pages table view controller to work to show the pages. And wait a minute, okay. Yeah, it's okay. We can stop here and have this error for the next time. The thing why it doesn't work is we have the book here. We have to put in the book here and we are calling the wrong initializer here. But we will do this next time. So next time we will add the code that displays the pages on the page table view controller after we have added them in the page input view controller. So if you'd like to join next time, I would love to see you there. I would love to read in the comments. If not, the video will be posted to YouTube. It's quite boring because it's real time, and real-time programming isn't that fancy and that interesting. It's often just doing stuff and not really knowing what to do next. But nevertheless, I will put it onto the YouTube, and maybe some people want to watch it. Okay, see you next time, and have a nice day.